What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Voyager PRID Ultra Magnus, as well as the Cyberverse Commander Ultra Magnus, and I think these two are worth looking at together, just because the Cyberverse Commander kind of shows what is disappointing about the Voyager. So, we're going to take a look at them at the same time, but let's start with the Cyberverse Commander. The reason I wanted to bring this guy out is I feel like this Cyberverse Commander has had a larger paint budget than the Voyager size one. It may be just because he's smaller, but because of that we get this full detailing here of all this, you know, truck stuff. We get the smokestacks actually picked apart, different color than the rest of the vehicle. The windows are picked out. That nice striping. We've got headlights, a decent amount of bumper. It could continue on, but hey, whatever. And then this chrome grille, which is really nice. Then we get to the Voyager one. Unfortunately, I've painted mine, so let me show you some pictures of the failed review that I had from a couple weeks ago of him, just so you can see some of his vehicle mode paint apps. So as you can see, there really wasn't a whole bunch there, and that was pretty disappointing, which got me to take my RID version and actually give him some paint. Now, the red doesn't quite match up with this line. I want to go back and fix it, but I got to get some Autobot stickers that will be the same size here, and once I do, I'll just paint over all this red. But what I did here is, you can see the old one just had this front piece silver. I've actually added it to the side part here, as well as the tops and sides and everything. I then continued, you had the silver that ended up right here, and I continued it for the rest of the wheel well and did the rear wheel wells to match. I added this striping, which is molded in, but there's just no color on them. I gave these little silver tie hooks or whatever, did the tail lights, just kind of painted the bottoms of his feet to continue the bumper on around. Yeah, makes a big difference. What's particularly interesting, I also painted the grille, made that silver, did the little windshield wipers. This was just that gray, unpainted plastic. One thing that is pretty interesting, did the headlights too. The mirrors here on the front are all molded in, so you get really nice looking mirrors, but then on the back they're not molded at all, so you just kind of have to carefully paint your mirror there. So I did that, and then I added the roof lights here. And so, once you get this toy painted, I'm actually pretty proud of how this guy came out. I think he looks really good now. And I actually like this toy a lot more. It still feels and sounds very cheap. The plastic definitely is different than what Hasbro has been using. But, you know, at least I can be proud of that. I don't know if I'd recommend getting him for $25 or whatever he's costing anymore. If you can't paint it, but it is an option. So, like our little Cyberverse guy, he also comes with his gun hammer. This turns into a hammer if you just rotate this on up, hammer. Rotate it down, gun. And it just plugs into the back here. And you can kind of position it how you want. This guy also has that. It's probably one of the better mech tech weapons. I'm glad that this is going to be gone. But what you do is you can take this and slide it forward, and you can plug in this and it actually holds itself out. There's an LED inside, which is silly to me. And you can take this, and what you're supposed to do, the instructions say to split his legs, flip open these little supports here, close it up. And actually, it's going to be hard to see, but I'm getting stress marks on some of my blue tabbing plastic. There's another one right there. That's with no real force or anything on these. I get stress marks. Anyway, what the instructions tell you to do is to take the two blue handles here, and you just kind of rest them on here. And that's how this is supposed to sit on, but if you rotate it at all, it just falls right off. You can also put it on the other way if you so choose, but Usually because of how the blue hammer, it doesn't sit very good. Of course, he has the MechTech ports and stuff, so you can plug them in on the top. Actually, not even MechTech, they're just 5mm holes that don't auto-close. Stick them on the side, whatever. He also comes with this missile, you can do similar things. Now, what I've actually seen some people do is to take this and just plug in one of these blue handles and just kind of make it look like it is connected to both, and then attach the missile somehow. Say like that. What I personally like doing, well, here's another option. You can take this like that, and then plug in your missile over here, so you got the 2 slots filled. That looks pretty decent. Personally, my favorite is to plug the missile in to the side of the gun, and just have it like that. So, you do have your options there. For a size comparison, let's just put these back so we can do that size comparison. I have the first edition Optimus Prime, which I felt is a good size comparison because they're both semi-trucks, and it's pretty good to see how they scale together. We'll take the Cyberverse and put him aside. You can see just kind of the width. Optimus is a tad longer, he's definitely taller, but not in all sections. So let's go and take Prime out of here, and let's actually get to transforming this guy. Let's look at the Cyberverse first. So we'll take this off, and what you're going to do here is kind of take his arms, split them, and pretty much everything's going to fall into place once you split his arms. Everything's just going to rotate out like that. Rotate this down, flip his head up, rotate his waist around, turn his feet down like that, and split them apart. And there you go, you got the Cyberverse Ultra Magnus. Now, he's got some pretty good paint in this mode too. I mean, you got the detailing on his feet, this 2 colors on his crotch area, his chest has 2 colors there. That looks really, really good. He's even got green eyes and a silver face. So, yeah, he looks really good. You can give him his gun here if you want, or you can turn it into the hammer and just kind of clip it on in. And he's a good looking little Cyberverse toy for $6 or $7, whatever he costs. Now let's actually, before we get to the Voyager, let's go back to the failed review and take a look at what the Voyager size Ultra Magnus looked like prior to paint. So this is why when you get to the chest, you can see that I kind of like the Cyberverse Commander better than the Voyager, just because his chest looks so much more detailed with all that red. I'm not a big fan of this clear plastic, but it's definitely better in my opinion than the Voyager. Now if you're going to paint him, you know, you're going to get some better results, and I love how this guy looks with the extra paint I put on him. I just think that it's brings out a lot of the molded detail. So we'll take this off. Don't be surprised here that the transformation of this guy is not all that much different than the Cyberverse. There's a few places that vary, but for the most part it's kind of the Cyberverse with a few things folding out of the way better. So we'll split his legs, we'll put these little supports down, and we'll remove all that. We'll just rotate his legs on out, and then rotate his feet. Now here's one of our major things, is we take this panel, and we can flip it and rotate it up, and rotate it around. And right here, he actually has a fake wheel. I ran out of flat black paint, so I actually couldn't do that wheel yet. So once I get some more in, I will finish his leg. Take this, rotate this on up and around. And even without doing anything else, you can just see just how much nicer, like, the silver kind of flows into each other, you know, with the wheels there on the side, the striping. It gives them a lot more detailed of a leg. So now what we're going to do, we have this, we're just kind of rotate his arms on down for now. and split his arms here so it comes past this little grill piece. Take the grill, flip it up, and then this whole truck cab is gonna fold down like that. Now, similar to the Cyberverse, split his arms open and rotate the top of the truck down. Now, extra, we pull out his hands here and we close up these panels to make better arms for him. And there we go. There is the transformation for the Voyager Ultra Magnus. Now this guy has quite the shelf stature. He looks like a big, strong robot in my opinion, and I really do like how he looks. I just don't think his quality is all that good. And when you add all this extra paint, like you saw, he just had the red and white here, so when you add some extra red on there to bring out some more details, it looks pretty good. He's got the silver here, but it didn't continue past this point of his neck. So continuing it all the way through where that seam line is back makes a big difference. His face also, I think, picks up a lot more detail when you kind of bring out that that kind of like vent on his chin. And then I personally like the G1 white Ultra Magnus antenna. And so once you add these little changes, he just looks way better in his robot mode. And it's stuff that I feel like should have been there, because prior to him being painted, you had two tiny little pieces of white, a third one here, the silver down here, the silver on his legs, and then his face. And I feel like there's just more paint that went into the Cyberverse guy with his whole chest region than went on the whole robot mode of the Voyager. So I don't really understand where the paint budget went. Anyway, you can take his missile, and it's kind of a tease that they only gave us one, because he does have the ports up here to put him on his shoulder, sort of like Generation 1 Ultra Magnus. Kinda wish they had two, but no, I won't go and buy a second one to do that. You can also just take it and mount it on his wrists here, or I should say his forearms, which is really the way I like to display that. You can also give him his gun, of course. And this will bring another point that needs to be fixed with this toy. Right out of the box, he has really loose arms. I've given mine 3 coats of clear nail polish to stiffen him up, because he could not hold his gun up prior to getting those coatings. Now he can hold it. It's not really going to go anywhere. It's much better. You can also, if you want, peg it on his back just for storage. And I've seen some people put the hammer, well, we'll put the hammer on now. The hammer, again, like I said, rotate this on out and lock it in with the mech tech, or this clip here, lock the mech tech out. And the hammer is a little bit difficult to get in just due to the detailing on his hand, but it will squeeze on past, and you can put it on, and he does look pretty awesome holding his hammer, though his legs don't want to cooperate too much. But yeah, you know, you can get some good poses out of him with that hammer. You do have the 2 possible places to hold on to it. You could hold it by the lower grip here and kind of pose him that way with it. Whatever you really want to do, there's things to do with it. And it does look pretty darn good if you just kind of take it and kind of sling it on his back like that. So ultimately, if you're willing to take the time and put some paint into this toy, I think he actually is a really cool Voyager, just because he has a lot of good looks. He doesn't have a good transformation. It's very simplistic, which is pretty disappointing. Let's give this back to him real quick. Yeah, so that simplistic transformation is right along the lines of his Cyberverse Commander, and in that regard, that's pretty disappointing. But for the actual shelf presence and stuff, he's a pretty cool bot, especially with some extra paint. So, before we get on out of here, I wanted to take a size comparison here. I just got this in the mail the other day, and this is our Darkness Megatron, who is an amazing toy. If you have the means to pick him up, he kills the US Voyager just overall in looks and presence. I highly recommend him, though this backpack does make him pretty back heavy. So there you go, there's a nice size comparison for you. If you don't have Darkness Megatron, you probably have the Voyager if you're interested in the PRID line. You know, he has one of the coolest mini-cons here to make that wing backpack thing, but it just, it really weighs on him. Anyway, there you go, there's your size comparison. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you guys next week.